learn to trust. And that's hard, because, especially nowadays, because people misuse trust. But you have to learn to put yourself out there. Because if you don't, you'll never have that true friendship.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the I Am Worthy podcast. My name is Brittainy Noel. I am your host. As you guys know, I am a therapist, a speaker, an author, entrepreneur, a little bit of everything, okay? But y'all know here on the podcast, I am just your friend in your journey as we are all learning how to become better versions of ourselves. So welcome back to another amazing episode for our second season, okay? I'm super excited. I'm even more excited because of the topic that we're going to talk about today. So y'all know last episode, I was talking about the ways in which I wanted to be more intentional about pouring into myself. And so I was like, I cannot continue this conversation without letting you guys know one of my secret weapons, okay? One of the ways in which I'm able to be who I am, do what I do on a daily and consistent basis. And that, you guys, is going to be the secret, okay? The hack, the life hack of having real friends. So welcome to my show, one of my very, very, very best friends, Mrs. Rochelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, honey?
Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me. You know, this is not my norm.
It is not, okay, y'all? I had to almost hog tie her to get her here because I'm comfortable in front of the camera and she would rather be behind or assisting me in the background.
Yes.
But I had an idea to do a friendship episode months ago before we even came back because I was getting a lot of questions from my audience, my clients, about how do you have real, authentic friendships. And even in the February 2022 edition of Essence,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
I wrote an article about, or was interviewed by their editor about how to have friendships and how friendships changed during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to bring on one of my besties, okay, to have just an honest girl talk conversation about what friendship is, what it looks like, how it evolves over time, and how to make sure that we have genuine, authentic connections in our lives. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, my friends don't like to be on camera. Okay, they do not.
No, we're the behind the scenes friends.
Yes, yes. I don't even know where to start. I will say, well, first let's start where we met. How about that?
Yes.
We met on an inpatient unit.
Yes. We were not patients, though. Trust me. We were not patients.
We were on an inpatient mental health unit, but we were working there.
Yes. What year was that?
Girl. 2015. It had to be 2015.
2015,
It had to be
okay.
2015 because it was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, because I graduated 2014. So 2015, I came on the unit, and Miss Rochelle was one of the rec therapists there, and I was on as one of the social workers and the therapists on the unit. So yeah, I think we met. And did it take time for our friendship to evolve?
It seems like we hit it off right off because I don't remember a time where we didn't connect.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think, and one of the things that made it easier for us to bond was we were one of the only black
young black
on the unit.
Yes, young black women on the unit.
Yeah, so you know how that goes. Okay. And I think what stuck out to me for you was how just unapologetic you were. Like, you made it very clear that I can come in as a young therapist and just be myself, because you were willing to be yourself in that space where a lot of people code switch and, change stuff up, that even in the environment we were in, you were comfortable just being you. And so I was able to come and be like, okay, yeah, she's going to be my friend.
Yes, this is what you get.
So tell me, for you, how would you say our friendship has evolved over time since then?
We've been through a whole lot, but we've managed to always be very supportive to each other. Mm-hmm. We've managed to, when we needed to be called out on different things, we do that as well. Mm-hmm. We've always been a listening ear. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, it's not a matter of providing advice.
Right.
It's just that listening ear. And over time, our friendship has grown. We have just involved into something that is definitely beautiful.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you said is that we support each other. And this is something that I stress to my clients, the people I work with, everyone who follows me online. Support comes in the form, like it is possible to have a friendship that is willing to support you without judging you.
Right.
Like that's one of the biggest things for me, because I think sometimes as a therapist, there are people who look at me and say, oh, you should be this way, or you should act this way, or you should think this way. And I'm an unconventional in all ways. So having a friendship that says I support you without judging you for whoever you are and however you show up, like that was paramount for me. Do you feel like, what do you think goes into supporting someone non-judgmentally is what I'll say?
Supporting someone non-judgmentally means to see them for who they are. And sometimes that's hard because we feel like our friends should be a certain way. However, that's not true. And being supportive and being non-judgmental means that, okay, this is where you are and I'm going to meet you there.
Right, right. Do you feel like you've ever been or had a friendship that was judgmental?
Of course, we all have.
Okay.
And those friendships don't last. I've been very fortunate to have friends that I've had for 20, 30 years. Yeah, because we meet each other where we are. And those judgmental friendships, they're there for the moment. So I learn from those and I move on.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing for me. I think when I wrote the Essence article about like friendship evolving during the pandemic, and I said a lot of friendships didn't survive the pandemic because people found out how surface level they were. And so now that everybody was struggling in the pandemic, you realize, okay, I don't really have a friendship that's built on something solid because we don't even know how to support each other when things aren't pretty or things aren't easy or life is easy.
It's good to have those friends that you go out with, those friends that are there for the good times. But when it comes down to it, those friends that when you're on the struggle bus, that you need somebody to pull you when they're struggling themselves, yeah.
Those you don't find. No. So what would you say goes into creating like a significant friendship?
Time and getting to know a person and not just the surface. I want to know, just like in a regular relationship, when you're trying to court someone, you want to know not just their favorite color. Come on, you want to know the deep things.
Right.
So that takes time. And for a person to trust you, to even let you in, to know those things.
Right. Yeah. I think one of the things that helped me was because Rochelle and I are different. And I think even in the stage that you and I met, because I met Rochelle before I went through a lot of my evolutions as an individual, meaning I had learned who I was. I learned what I was good at. Like, because Rochelle met me before I even realized I was a speaker. Like, you met me before I realized this was my purpose and what I was supposed to be doing. Because I just knew I was going to be where I was until I get that good retirement, that good pension, and I was good. So when I tell you Rochelle has been there when I was unsure about my purpose, I was unsure about my gift, I was testing things out, doubting myself. She has been there throughout that entire ride. And it's always been, Brittainy, whatever you feel is best. Like, I trust you to trust your own judgment. And having that friend in my corner who a lot of times reminds me, because there are times where I'm like, look, we're going to go on back. Listen, I'm done with this. I want to do something else. And she'd be like, okay, but like, this is your purpose. Like, what are you going to do with that?
That's right. You have to keep walking in your purpose.
Yeah. And what you said is having a true friend means someone who sees you. And what I love about our friendship is I know without a doubt that you see me as me, not who you want me to be, not who the world, like how sometimes the world will see me on Instagram, but you see me as an individual. You see the impact I make. You see my purpose. Like, it takes a lot for someone to see all of those things in one person and still say, I'll take them.
That's my friend. I'm sticking beside her. Yes.
Like, I'm a low maintenance friend, but I come with a lot. Like, and I think when you are friends with someone who has purpose and is chasing purpose, like, I don't think it's easy for you to be my friend.
Why do you say that?
Because it's like there are certain times, like when we were building out, you guys, our build out was ridiculous. Okay. And when I'm a builder, I'm always working on something. I'm always doing something. And so I feel like in our friendship, to be my friend, like, you would have to team up to being with me on that roller coaster. Like, my closest friends are there every day. They talk to me. Something else is going on. Like, something else is happening. And they're the only ones who really see majority of what's happened. But there are even times where I'm like, I don't want to call her because I don't want to talk about this other thing that just happened, right? Or this next thing that I have to do. Like, I feel like it's hard for you to be my friend, because it's like, you didn't sign up to be on this roller coaster with me. Like, you didn't consent. I didn't ask you if you wanted to go on this roller coaster, but you're here. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. And I just feel like, as a friend, that roller coaster, even though you didn't sign up for it, you're along for the ride. So all those bumps and bruises, hey, I felt them too. And I remember one day specifically, I just had this feeling. I was like, I just should call her. I was on my way to get crawfish, and anybody know me about my crawfish. It's a serious thing, right? But I just had this feeling, and I called, and she answered the phone, and it was like this silence. I'm on my way. I don't know what's going on.
Child, that was
I didn't know what was going on. Where are you? I'm on my way.
Yeah. And I always say that was God that day, because that was a day I was holding on by a thread, like this much. And I had put my phone down because I actually had the thought to call you. And I was like, no, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just going to work. That's what I was working on one of the accent walls. I'm like, I'm just going to put this wall up. That's it. And she calls me, and I'm answering it because in the moment I'm thinking I'm good. I'm like, let me see what's going on. So when I answered, and the minute I heard your voice, it's like I just bust out in tears. Like, I couldn't even hold it together. I was just like, I don't want to put this on you, but where else I'm gonna put it? Like that, and that was literally her little expression was, where are you? I'm coming to you, like, right now. She didn't even get crawfish that day. Right?
But I made up for it.
Yes.
But I got to be there for my friend. So it's like, what do you need in that moment? You're in those trenches. You are on this journey. I'm with you.
Yeah. That's true. And I think for me, one of the things that makes our friendship significant is that this level of connection for Rochelle is normal. She comes from a very good background. Look, we always compare our origin stories together, and how mine is so very different, whereas I was learned to be independent at a very young age, right? Had to take care of myself. And so my attachment is very, very different from yours, whereas I had to learn how to lean into relationships and how to lean into vulnerability. Whereas for you, like, y'all do that every day. They got family calls. I'm like, y'all got family calls? That's the type of family you come from. So I think I learned from you many times, like, how to continuously let somebody into my space, and be that level of just transparent, open, and honest, without the fear of, well, what if this happens and what if that happens?
Just let it be.
For people who you feel don't come from those backgrounds, or they don't have secure attachments, right? And they don't have those type of relationships that have modeled what healthy friendship can look like, what advice would you give them as far as trying to navigate, how do I find significant friendships that are going to be there with me, thick and thin?
I would say learn to trust. And And that's hard, because especially nowadays, because people misuse trust. But you have to learn to put yourself out there. Because if you don't, you'll never have that true friendship. You talked about, I'm sorry, my allergies are acting up. You talked about during the pandemic, how people needed friendship, right?
Right.
Didn't realize how important friendships were until you couldn't necessarily be around people, couldn't necessarily socialize with people. And then you're stuck in the house and it's like, what do I do? So at that time, people were having to figure out ways to try to be creative to kind of come up with friendships or develop the friendships that they had. And so you had to be vulnerable. Hey, look, I'm struggling. I had a bad day today.
Yes.
And that's hard to be vulnerable, especially as Black women, because we're taught we have to carry the weight on our shoulders. We have to be strong at all times. Don't let them see you sweat.
Right.
However, with a good friend, you can allow yourself to be vulnerable and say, I'm not doing good today, or I'm sad, or I'm hurt, or I'm just not doing good.
Right, right. And I think like that's something that we have normalized. Like we have normalized, we're not okay.
Yeah, I'm not okay.
We don't have any expectation for either one of us to be strong, for either one of us to be like, we acknowledge like the duality of life, that we can have a good life, enjoy what we do. We enjoy what comes with our jobs. We enjoy what comes with our families. And I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overworked. I need a vacation, right? And so we don't put pressure, I think, because sometimes I'll hear people say, if you go to your friend and you're like, oh, this is what's going on. They're like, you should be grateful. Who says I'm not grateful? Like, like not having a space where I can just come and be me and just offload without it being thrown back at me as far as what I should be feeling instead.
And then putting a name on our feelings. Look, I'm struggling. I'm sad. I'm hurt. I'm depressed. That way your friend knows how to show up for you and what you need. Because a true friend's going to know when Brittany's stressed, she needs some chocolate cake. Okay? Yeah.
And she accepts that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go get her chocolate cake.
Absolutely.
For her. And she gets it for me too.
Listen, okay, in a heartbeat. And it's knowing when my friend needs me, it's being willing to show up. And I think sometimes people want like the significant friendship without putting anything in on it.
Right. You got to put in the work.
Like all relationships are work. All relationships require maintenance, right? There'll even be times where I'm like, hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. We need to go do something. Like, yeah. So it's knowing I have to, the same way we work in our relationships, it is work maintaining a friendship. But if you have the right friends, it's easy.
Right. The same way we show up in our relationships, the same effort.
Right.
The way you show up is the way you're going to show up in every aspect of life. Yeah. Basically,
What would you say are red flags to friendship? Like this person may not be a good fit for me as a friend.
I'm a low maintenance friend. I don't require a lot, but for me, if you don't make the time to even shoot a text message, everybody's busy. We all live busy lives, but if you can't send me a text message, hey, how you doing? If you can't show up for the good things in my life as well as for the bad, if you can't be there to listen, that's a big thing. I'm trying to tell you something and you too busy trying to tell me what you got going on. It's gonna be time for that. You give me my space, I give you yours. And someone that's always a red flag, somebody's always wanting something from you, but they don't want to give, whether it be time, energy, whatever,
Right. I think, and even for us, like sometimes I will say, like, do you want to hear this? Right? I'm like, I got more of the same going on. There's no reason for us to talk about what I got going on, right? But it's even checking in to make sure, being mindful of, you know, Rochelle's a whole person in herself. Like, how's her children? How's her family?
Children? You gave me a whole bunch of kids.
In my mind, you got more than one.
Oh, Lord.
Listen, y'all, she drives this huge car. And in my mind, there are more children coming. She doesn't accept that. My children are coming. Listen. You're going to raise my children. She's going to raise my children. She just doesn't know it yet. But yeah, that's all I'm saying.
What did you say? You'll just drop the Pampers off on Friday?
I'm going to drop them off at the doorstep. Your auntie got you. So serious. But yeah, I think, you know, it's being mindful. I have to check in with you, right? And knowing it's not the Brittainy show. Like, your problems may not be as crazy as mine, but they are significant. Mm-hmm. You live a very peaceful life compared to me.
I love my peace.
compared to my lifestyle, right? But yeah, and I think when things get hectic for me, what I have learned is I have to cling to community. And what a lot of people do when they're overwhelmed, when they're stressed out, when they're going through different life transitions, storms in their life, their first inclination is let me isolate.
Yes. Isolation is not good at all. Mm-hmm. Isolation could lead to so many things.
Do you feel like our problems intensify when we try to go into isolation and soften ourselves?
Of course. Mm-hmm. We have intentions of, I don't want to bother anybody. I got this. I'm going to figure it out. But it's always good to have someone to vent to, someone to lean into. They may not be able to solve your problems.
Right. And they're not supposed to.
Yeah, but just having a listening ear. Many times I've called and I'm like, hey, girl, just listen. And then all of a sudden I feel better. My problem's still there, okay? Don't get me wrong. I still have that problem. But just to have that support system to say, I hear you. I acknowledge what you're going through. You have every right to feel that way. And even sometimes saying, you know what, you're wrong. But that's what we do as friends. Like, if I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong.
And you know what? And this is a big one. Both of us have been in situations where you've told me I'm dead wrong. Mm-hmm. I've told you you dead wrong.
Right.
And neither one of us is offended.
No.
And for women, that is a big thing, that they cannot take accountability or correction from another female without being offended.
And I think what has been helpful in our situation is, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why. Right? I'm gonna bullet point him for you. You know, I'm not just gonna say you're wrong. And I think that's very helpful in receiving it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think being open, like, you have to be secure within yourself.
Right.
So you can say I'm wrong, and I know that you're not passing judgment on me.
No.
But you're saying, Brittainy, the way you showed up in that situation, you could have done something different. And sometimes you're holding me accountable for being who you know I can be, even though I'm acting out.
Just throwing a little tantrum. We
right,
all do.
Throwing a whole tantrum.
We all do that, though.
And she's like, now, Brittainy, you know you have the skills to deal with this. And I'm just like, well, I do, and? Right? So I think what goes a long way in real friendships, you have to be okay with your friend calling you out and saying, hey, I hear what you're saying. I understand why you did what you did, why you said what you said. And I'm holding you accountable to be better. Like, that's not okay.
Right. And no, it's all in love.
True.
Yeah. Because that's your friend. I mean, if you don't care about that person, you can do whatever. Go and do what you want to do. Child, just
and if that's your response to me, you don't care about me.
Exactly.
You don't care. And we have to start equating love, and this is a big one for relationships. We have to start equating someone loving you with someone correcting you. Mm-hmm. Like, both of those things has to live in the same place, because you can't say you love me if you're willing to watch me go down the wrong path and you're not affected by it. Like, if you can watch me self-sabotage, you're not my friend. If you're okay watching me give up on my goals, not go for what I want, and you're like, hey, let's go to happy hour, You're only here for the highlights of my life. You are not invested in my success. And I think it's hard because we want friendships that are significant, but that means you ain't gonna have a whole bunch of them.
Right. And not to get so caught up in the messenger that you forget the message, right? We both have mental health backgrounds, so we know how to articulate things in a way that makes it a little more palatable, right? However, not everybody has that way of that delivery. So it may come across harsh at times.
Right.
And that's all you heard is the harsh part. And you missed out on the whole message when your friend was really trying to be there to be supportive and to help. But she may not have said it in a way that you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And you missed the whole message.
Yeah. And I think even in my friendships, one of the things I try to normalize because of who I am and what I do on a day-to-day, I'll ask, I'm like, okay, I'm going to say something. I just know, listen, it's going to hurt a little bit. I just want you to hold yourself, okay? So I try to give a buffer so that when I say what has to be said, I'm processing that. I'm going to have to think about it. I'm going to call you back later.
And I've learned from you because I've not always given that buffer.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, look, let me tell you.
let me tell you about yourself.
Yes. But I've learned that from you. It's to give that buffer to say, hey, listen.
I'm going to say something that's about to sting.
It may hurt a little bit. But no, it's all in love.
Yes, yes. So we're definitely down for holding our friends accountable, helping our friends be better. I think in this season of my life, I don't lose friends often because I'm very intentional about who I consider a friend and how I allow you into my life. I will say recently, I think I've shedded certain people who had expired. Like, you can't go past this point with me. And it makes sense. And I think a lot of my audience, my clients, they struggle with releasing friendships that it's not even that you outgrow them, but it's like God is showing you they cannot go to this phase of life with you. Like, and I have learned that when we hold on to friendships because this is what I know, I'm loyal, we've been friends forever, like they were with me through this, that, and the other, and we continue to hold on, that we are blocking ourselves from moving into the next phase of our life. Because I'm very clear about God can't move me in certain rooms knowing I still got certain things attached to me that can't go. And everybody is not happy to see you move into those rooms. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense.
So when it comes to releasing friendships, what would you say is helpful when it comes time that you realize, okay, this friendship has expired, or even not even that I'm moving them out of my life, but their level of access to me has to change? How do you go about doing that?
Self. That's me talking to myself. Hey, you have to be honest with yourself and to just realize what value is this person adding to my life. They may have in the past added, and I appreciate that. However, going forward, that doesn't mean that I still don't cherish what they've added to my life in the past, but you just have to kind of not give them, I don't know, just not give them the time and the energy.
So one of the things that I know a lot of my clients struggle with is this idea of having frenemies. Mm-hmm. Let's just go there, okay? Because everybody that we call a friend, sometimes we're more loyal to them than they are to us.
Right.
Sometimes we are more protective over those relationships than they are of us. And we find ourselves in a place where we realize, okay, this friend is not who I thought they were. This relationship is not as reciprocal as I would like it to be. How do I release this person from my life so that I can move forward and find the relationships that are actually going to be for me?
That's where boundaries come in. it's hard sometimes to set boundaries, especially with people that you've been through some things with, right? Mm-hmm. But if they're not adding value to your life, they're not helping you, they're not pushing you forward, they're not holding you accountable, they're not being supportive to you, then are they really a friend?
Do you think that people hold on to those relationships because having someone that I can go out to happy hour with or go out to brunch with is better than having no one?
Of course. Of course, people hold on to those friendships for that. But holding on to those friendships, you're not allowing room for those true relationships, those true friendships to blossom and develop.
That's true. That's true. I think at the end of the day, what helps me be a good friend and even pick good friends is having like a certain level of understanding of myself.
Right.
Because the better I know me, I know what friendships work for me. I know what friendships don't work for me. I know what boundaries I need to have with my friends. I know what I need from friendship. And it's not just me connecting with another person, but I'm actually clear about why this person is in my life. So that if they ever not serving a purpose, then I know that too. So thank you. I have enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you for being a friend.
Listen, thank you for being a friend. Like y'all don't understand the things this lady has gotten me through. Y'all don't know. And I have, other friends who were unable to make today's recording because, this was not even planned. I just text.
Yes.
I just sent out a text message. It was like, hey, so you're going to be on my show. The I Am Worthy podcast needs you. Okay. And luckily, Rochelle was able to show up for you guys today. And I think we got to do like a whole panel with all my friends, which again, the people who are in my top tier of friendship, it's not a lot of y'all. It's not. And that's how it's supposed to be. I think sometimes we mess ourselves up when we have this expectation that because you're my friend that you should have full access to me. Mm-hmm. And there are levels to access. Right. There are levels to friendship.
And then I think also, back in the day when we were younger, the more friends you had, the more popular you were, and everybody thrived on having lots of friends. Well, the older you get, you realize, hey,
few and far.
Okay.
But you know what? And this is one of the things I think someone asked me in my live, like, as you become an adult, it's harder to make friends. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think someone had moved and they were like, well, I'm in a whole new city by myself. Like, how do I make friends as an adult? What would you do? First of all, she is the most friendliest person. Hear me, okay? If I'm afraid of her being kidnapped one day, okay? She just talked to strangers like it's nothing, okay? And not only talk, she's going to get your whole life story in one conversation. Every time we go somewhere, we get something for free.
She tells me, don't talk. Do not talk. Please.
Like, we are in and out. Do not sit up here and have a conversation. By the time she has left a store, she knows the clerks, where they family from, where they grew up at, how many kids they got, where their kids go to school. She has everything because that's who she is, okay? And it's beautiful.
And she tells me sometimes, I went to the store today and I acted like Rochelle. I was like, what did you do?
And I'll be like, I talked to people today. Because I go in and out of stores, and I'm like, why do you have to have conversations all the time? And that's just who she is.
Yes.
But I learned, okay, when I want to get something for free.
Wait a minute now. Wait.
Where did I go? And was it a food place? And they just hooked my food up because I was willing to just have a conversation. I'm learning the ways
I don't get
a
lot of things for free. Trust me.
Don't let her tell
But I do make good connections.
She makes awesome connections.
So when I go back, they remember me. And just because we get the best table in the house, I mean, hey.
Just for Rochelle, okay? Just for Rochelle. No. But yeah, I think I'm excited about where our friendship will go. I think where I am right now, I'm so satisfied with my friendships. Like knowing ain't no snakes in the grass. There's nobody that I'm like having to watch myself around, like knowing the people around me are solid and for me, they support my vision. And be clear, when I make plans about my future, when I see myself going up, I see everyone attached to me going up. So I make plans for our future vacation that we're going to have somewhere across the world. And, you know, when we go to Oprah and when we go to the Tyler Perry studios, okay, like my friends are there in those visions because they were here in the trenches. In the trenches. So as you're picking your friends, make sure you're picking people who see you. They see your vision. They see who you are today and also who you are striving to become without judging you for your mistakes or falling short. They hold you accountable for being a good friend. They hold you accountable for reaching your goals, and they don't restrict you.
That's right.
I think that, and then get rid of your frenemies, if anything. That's what I'm saying.
They mean you no good. If you just want to go to happy hour, then keep them. But if you want solid friendships that are meaningful and that you can carry on for years to come, then yes.
And lean into trust. That was the other thing I heard you say. And that's a big one because you don't know what you got until you try it out.
Right.
So at some point, you're going to have to give some type of vulnerability, some type of transparency to see, can this person handle all of me?
It can be scary sometimes, but if it's truly meant to be, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Absolutely. Because I think I started being transparent with my friends. I don't know why this is so specific, but it was around Hurricane Harvey. Because I had a speaking engagement, and that was my first speaking engagement where I was going to be 100% honest, like cutthroat. And I was so afraid. And I remember you, Brenda, was like, you can do it. Just speak your truth. Just be honest. And I remember that was around the time that I was actually vocalizing, I don't feel like I can do this. Like before, I would have those thoughts, but I would internalize them. Wouldn't actually say anything. It was around that time that I was like, well, you know, I'm just going to let you know. I don't think I got it. Like whatever y'all see, I don't see. Mm-hmm. And that was the time that I realized that you can be transparent with a select group of people and they not judge you for it. So
I think my transparency became more apparent when I started going through some health issues. Mm-hmm. And I really had to depend on my friends because I have a limited family here. And they live if you know Houston is huge. So they live on the other side of town. So I had to depend on my friends to be there to help me and be supportive and say, hey, I'm not having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need help.
But I was used to doing everything on my own.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been waiting all day to say this, Rochelle.
What is that?
Thank you for being a friend. I don't know why that has been in my head all day. But yeah, thank you for coming on the I Am Worthy podcast. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate your presence in my life, though. Can I just say that? Can I give you your flowers now?
Yes.
Thank you for being my friend. I appreciate you. This is literally someone I don't think we go 24 hours without talking.
We talk daily.
It's ridiculous. I mean, but we always have very good conversations.
Yes.
But yes. So if anything, you guys, I would encourage you all to take this conversation and ask yourself, how many people can I have this type of conversation with? How many people in my life can I have this level of transparency with, honesty with, without feeling judged, without feeling attacked or demeaned? Like really think about the friendships that you have and ask yourself, what needs to happen on my part or other people's part for me to get to this level of vulnerability with my friendships? So let me know in the comments, okay, what you guys thought of Miss Rochelle's debut appearance on the I Am Worthy podcast. Gonna have to get her to come back.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, she's coming back. So in the meantime, in between time, you guys, thank you for joining the I Am Worthy podcast, and we will talk to you soon.